Lindsey Williams is our guest, and we'll get back to him in a moment. But to truly understand the depth to which the rulers of the world will go to get their economic way, we're going to play this segment from about economic hitmen from Zeitgeist Addendum.
Iraq actually is a perfect example of the way the whole system works. So we economic hitmen are the first line of defense. We go in and we try to corrupt governments and get them to accept these huge loans, which we then use as leverage to basically own them. If we fail, as I failed in Panama with Omar Torrijos and in Ecuador with Jaime Roldos, men who refuse to be corrupted, then the second line of defense is we send in the jackals. And the jackals either overthrow governments or they assassinate. And once that happens and a new government comes in, boy, it's going to toe the line because the new president knows what will happen if he doesn't. In the case of Iraq, both of those things failed. Economic hitmen were not able to get through to Saddam Hussein. We tried very hard. We tried to get him to accept a deal very similar to what the House of Saud had accepted in Saudi Arabia, but he wouldn't accept it. And so the jackals went in to take him out. They couldn't do it. His security was very good. After all, he had one time worked for the CIA. He'd been hired to assassinate a former president of Iraq and failed, but he knew the system. So in '91, we send in the troops and we take out the Iraqi military. So we assume at that point that Saddam Hussein is going to come around. We could have taken him out, of course, at that time, but we didn't want to. He's the kind of strong man we like. He controls his people. We thought he could control the Kurds and keep the Iranians in their border and keep pumping oil for us. And that once we took out his military, now he's going to come around. So the economic hitmen go back in the 90s without success. If they'd had success, he'd still be running the country. We'd be selling him all the fighter jets he wants and everything else he wants. But they couldn't, they didn't have success. The jackals couldn't take him out again, so we sent the military in once again, and this time we did the complete job and took him out, and in the process created for ourselves some very, very lucrative construction deals. We had to reconstruct a country that we'd essentially destroyed, which is a pretty good deal if you own construction companies, big ones. So, Iraq shows the three stages. The economic hitmen failed there, the jackals failed there, and as a final measure, the military goes in. And in that way, we've really created an empire, but we've done it very, very subtly. It's clandestine. All the empires of the past were built on the military, and everybody knew they were building them. So the British knew they were building them, the French, the Germans, the Romans, the Greeks, and they were proud of it. And they always had some excuse like spreading civilization, spreading some religion, something like that. But they knew they were doing it. We don't. The majority of the people in the United States have no idea that we're living off the benefits of a clandestine empire. That today there's more slavery in the world than ever before. Obviously, our presidents of the United States are not emperors. An emperor is someone who's not elected, doesn't serve a limited term, and doesn't report to anyone, essentially. So you can't classify our presidents that way. But we do have what I consider to be the equivalent of the emperor, and it's what I call the corporatocracy. The corporatocracy is this group of individuals who run our biggest corporations, and they really act as the emperor of this empire. They control our media, either through direct ownership or advertising. They control most of our politicians because they finance their campaigns, either through their corporations or through personal contributions that come out of the corporations. They're not elected, they don't serve a limited term, they don't report to anybody. And at the very top of the corporatocracy, you really can't tell whether a person's working for a private corporation or the government because they're always moving back and forth. So, you've got a guy who one moment is the president of a big construction company like Halliburton, and the next moment he's vice president of the United States, or the president who was in the oil business. And this is true whether you've got Democrats or Republicans in the office. You have them moving back and forth through the revolving door. And in a way, our government is invisible a lot of the time, and its policies are carried out by our corporations on one level or another. And then again, the policies of the government are basically forged by the corporatocracy and then presented to the government. They become government policy. So it's an incredibly cozy relationship.
All right, when we come back, Lindsey Williams will tell us what the corporatocracy has planned not only for us, but for the entire planet over the next 12 months.
And we're back on with our very special guest, Lindsey Williams. Now, Lindsey, before you told us that somebody had called you and warned you to back off a little bit. But at the same time, this gentleman fills you in on what the corporatocracy is planning on doing over these next 12 months. Tell us, what can we expect? And does President Obama make any difference?
When I was called on the phone by this individual who knows everything that goes on behind closed doors with the elite, he said to me, the price of crude oil is going from $50, from $140 a barrel. It was $147 at the time. He said it's going to $50 a barrel. He said, and it's going a little below, by the way. He said also the price at the gas pump in America is going from $1.50 to $2 a gallon and stay there for a period of time. He said the oil-producing countries, OPEC, are no longer going to be able to buy our T-bills, Treasury bills, their reserve currency. Now, here is the prediction in light of what he said. When T-bills are not purchased by these countries, we have 6 to 9 months. Folks, please note this time frame. We have 6 to 9 months, and the dollar will collapse. You will be taking a wheelbarrow load of dollars to the grocery store in order to purchase a loaf of bread. Get your house in order now, because it is going to take place 6 to 9 months, maximum 1 year from now. He also said, America will, and these are his exact words, I'm going to quote him word for word. He said, America will see a financial collapse that will be so great that it will take years to come out of it. And I asked him the question, I said, are you talking about a 1929 type depression? He said, don't you use that word depression. I mean, these people can be very direct if they want to. He said, I did not say that. He said, I said, America will see a financial collapse that will be so great that it will take years to come out of it. So, folks, enjoy $1.50 a gallon gasoline. Fill up that SUV. Go every place you want to go. Truckers, enjoy that diesel fuel at a lower price. It's going to stay there for a lengthy period of time. It is not going back up in the next 6 months, 9 months. It may even take a year and a half for it to go there. I know the American people are saying, wonderful. This is the most marvelous thing since sliced bread. The gasoline's going down to $1.50 a gallon. No, the elite are not doing you any favors whatsoever by taking crude oil to $50 a barrel and gasoline at $1.50 a gallon, because within 6 to 9 months' time, you are going to pay the price by the collapse of the American dollar. Now, here's what happened. You saw it at Christmas time. You went back to the stores, 50% discount, 75% discount. They were selling what they did not sell at Christmas time. That's called deflation. Mark my words. This gentleman let me know that within 6 to 9 months, a maximum of a year, you are going to see hyperinflation. Not because the price of gasoline is going up, but because the value, the purchasing power of the dollar is going to plummet to the point that you are going to see major repercussions in the United States of America. You ask about Mr. Obama. No, he can't do a thing in the world about it.